Welcome to the All-Star Summit. My name's Kayode Damali, host and from BBC The Apprentice 2018. Today we have a very, very special guest being Scarlett Allen-Horton. Now, Scarlett was on the show BBC The Apprentice 2019, Series 15, where she won 7 tasks, unfortunately lost 3 tasks, but she still made it to the final, becoming runner-up. However, even though she didn't win The Apprentice, she still got the investment from Lord Sugar. So please give a massive virtual round of applause to Scarlett.
Hey.
How are you doing, Scarlett?
I'm really good, thank you, Kayode. How are you?
I'm good. Now, before we kick off, I've got a surprise I'd like to show everybody, and I'm going to show you too. Are you ready?
I hope so.
You ready? 3, 2, 1. Ta-da!
Oh, gosh.
So basically, Scarlett, I like to use my green screen. So I've got a picture of you, what we can use, or I can use your whole gang. Everyone from
Gosh.
Or if you want, we can just use my normal London backdrop. This is what I always use. So you got a choice. What do you want, Scarlett? Do you want
I feel like you're Lord Sugar, so I feel like you're across the board table. So I say we go for this one.
London, cool, brilliant, fantastic. So we've got our whoopsie, where have we gone? Oh no. All right, here we go. Brilliant. So then, Scarlett, before we kick off talking about your time on the show, I want to take it back. I want to take it back to where you were before the show. Tell me about your upbringing, you know, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school, etc.?
Okay, so I was brought up in inner city Birmingham. I was raised by my mum. I've got a younger brother, and I was brought up with my cousins as well. So pretty much all women apart from my brother. I was raised with my uncles. We were all raised together basically in different ways, but yeah, really strong, really matriarchal household, very independent. My mum worked really hard. I watched that, and I think that's pretty much been a motivation for me. And I went to school in Birmingham as well.
Awesome. You know, I have to say, I do like your brother. You know, I think your brother follows me on. I like your brother. You know, what's his name again?
My brother's called Henry.
Yeah, Henry. I think I followed you. We follow each other on social. I was like, you know what? Henry showed me love. You know, he doesn't even have to. I wasn't even in your year, but yeah, shouts out. Before we go anywhere, shouts out to Henry. Shouts out to Henry.
Yes, Henry.
Cool. So you grew up in inner city Birmingham.
Yeah.
And a very matriarchal, you know, I'm not surprised you say that because you're such a strong, you know, away from the interview, Scarlett, I really look up to you so highly. You're such a strong, independent woman, and it could literally shone throughout the show. And so I'm not surprised that you lived in a strong matriarchal household. So what about school, uni? Did you go uni?
No, I didn't go uni. So I went to school till I was 16, just about. I left home at 16 and I moved into youth supported accommodation. Probably just because I thought I was an adult, but I wasn't an adult at all. And I learned some interesting lessons there. And I left school at the same time, and I went literally straight into the world of work. Like, I worked since I was 14, helping the milkman. Then at a shoe shop, I lied and said I was a year older than I was, so I could start working at 15. I know, how did I get away with that?
You do recruitment, Scarlett, like 2020. Can you get away with that today? Like,
I don't think so. And then I moved into supported accommodation, and do you know what, it was you know, all in the city of Birmingham, and it was we actually had a really good time there, to be honest with you. But of course, you saw, you know, naturally you see a lot, don't you? You saw a lot, and I just thought,
was it rough growing up?
Yeah, absolutely, and quite a lot of people with mental health problems as well, and so you really did see lots of, you know, gangs, all of those different stuff. But actually, you know, I think for me it just motivated me more. I just thought, I just don't want to be a typical statistic, I suppose. Yeah. You know, so and in some ways I suppose probably was a little bit, because I left school, obviously left home, I was pregnant at 19, you know, my girl's dad went to prison, so there's a lot of kind of statistics where you're like, whoa, it's quite a lot of stuff, but all of that just motivated me further, to be honest with you, to kind of succeed. And I just always had that drive, and still now I absolutely do.
Damn, do you want to touch on that, or would you rather skip over that? Or that seems rough.
Yeah,
man.
What do you want to know? We're quite open. I always think that, you know, it's probably only now at this point in my life, I feel it's important to be quite open, actually, because I think there's so many families that go through that, so many men, obviously, so many women as well that are affected by it. And no, I think it's important to be open and just say that ultimately, you know, whatever you've been through, whatever circumstances you've been through, it doesn't define you. You know, I think it's all kind of a learning lesson, and it builds you. Yeah, but it's been a long process.
Yeah, because I mean, like my sister, my sister had her daughter at 19 as well, single mum as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for my sister, but for genuinely any single mums out there, I mean, you clearly made a success from being a single mum at 19.
Yeah.
What tips would you give? I mean, at the time when you're 19, you got a kid or two kids, what would you say?
Yeah, so I had two daughters, and I was with my girl's dad actually for quite a long time, for 12 years, but obviously he was in prison for part of that. But you know, if I'm really honest, I don't like that title of single mum. I really don't even see myself as that.
To be fair. I don't
even see myself as that.
You got a gang with, you got people around you. You know what I mean? I'm more single, living alone. Like,
yeah. Like, we're a family unit, what are you talking about? But no, you're absolutely right. But I don't even see it that way. I'm almost like, when people say that, I'm like, who are you talking about me? But no, you know, being real, I think it's really hard. But you know, to be really honest with you, Kayode, I think it's just hard raising young adults. That's hard for anybody. I think whether you're in a couple, whatever your family dynamic is, whether you're on your own, I think it's really hard anyway. It's hard work, and you're trying to work hard, and you're trying to I think, especially when you have children younger, you're still growing up yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big element. And I look at my eldest daughter's 12, she's going to be 30, at her, and I can see she's just trying to define who she is as an adult. And interestingly enough, I look at me and I think, actually, I'm probably just fine-tuning who I am as an adult, and exactly what my wants and beliefs are, and exactly what I want to kind of do and be known for. God, we've gone deep. We've gone deep.
I've got my armband, so it's okay. I'm not going to drown. I don't know about you.
No, but my point is, I think in some ways, I look at my daughter and I look at me, and I think we're growing together in different points of life. But that's me being really real. But yeah, but I think it's difficult for anyone at any point. But no, my girls are an absolute joy, massive motivation, and a massive support as well.
So one's 12, and how old's your other daughter?
8.
So when you're actually on the show, like, I mean, 'cause they were at school and stuff like this, how was it for them? Like, when you were on TV, like, mummy's on TV, like, how was it for them?
Yeah, major, because a few years, I'd never had social media before I did that show.
I know, your Instagram popped out of nowhere, right?
Just like, hold on a minute. So I never had social media. Like, I just about had a WhatsApp, and even on my WhatsApp, I wouldn't even put a picture of myself up there. So it was like, whoa, a change in but you know what, I just was really passionate. I really, you know, love the Apprentice, and I just thought, actually, it's an amazing opportunity. Like, I've got a business, I stand for all these things, and I feel like I'm a faith person. I feel like, you know, God's given me this opportunity, and no, it's time to kind of step into that a little bit. So that's kind of what happened. But in answer to your question, I think they were quite overwhelmed, because I told them when I was away I was at jury service.
Damn, I didn't even think about that. So what did you say to them? You're at jury service?
I'm at jury service.
Well, you can go home from jury service though.
Yeah, the girls wouldn't say anything, but I just thought, I don't even want to put them in a position, you know, you might tell your friend at school, I would have, and I don't even want to create a situation, you know. So that was really difficult. But then I think I told them about a week before the show aired, and I was like, actually, I've gone on the show, and they're like, what? I couldn't believe it. They were like, what? And then obviously everyone's coming up to them at school and all that. But no, I think ultimately, I think they were really, really proud. So,
yeah, they should be, 100% they should be. Okay, cool. So tell us about your life just before you applied. Like, what made you apply? Where were you at in your life before you thought, you know what, I'm going to apply for the show? Yeah,
so I've worked for about 8 years in like large corporate recruitment and search firms, and I've, you know, done really well in those firms, but kind of for often being the only woman, often being the only ethnic minority, and I was like very passionate.
Where's your background from, by the way, Scarlett?
So I'm half Asian, I'm half Kashmiri, half white.
Oh right, never Kashmiri. Yeah. That sounds so lovely. Where's? No,
it's Pakistan. Well, this is
my bad. Okay.
Yeah. No, of course not. So I just thought, no, you know, so passionate about these things, and that kind of probably my background just spurred me forward. I thought, no, I don't see any women at the top. Like, there can be women at the top, and there absolutely can be, you know. And all of those different things. So I kind of did that whole corporate piece, did really well, which is brilliant. Worked really hard, worked really long hours, all of that stuff. And then I went and set up my own business. So I founded Harper Fox Partners, and that was going actually really well. We're only kind of first year in. And then funnily enough, it was my mum, and she was like, oh, you know that they're looking for people on The Apprentice? And I was like, oh, and you know, when you just do it as a bit of a whim, Kayode. I was like working till late one night, till like 10:30, and the closing on the TV was at 11. And my mum had mentioned it to me, and then I saw Lord Sugar's face pop up on the TV, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to apply for this. And honestly, that was my attitude to it. Like, I thought it's phenomenal.
So was it last minute?
Last minute.
I was last minute as well, you know. I was last minute. I literally, the midnight, I was like, man, literally, I was last minute. Team last minute. And I was like, yeah,
absolutely, last minute pro. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So I did. And then you kind of just go through each of the processes, and you're like, God, I got through that one. Gosh, I got through that one. And you're like, God, this is crazy. And it wasn't until they kind of offer it, and you're like, oh, hold on a minute. This is a big thing, and it's scary. It's scary, isn't it? Because you're out there.
As a recruiter, like when you were going through the stages, did you kind of know, like, do you know what I mean? Did you kind of have like an inside advantage? Because you know what the recruitment process is like, or like how?
No, because they're having you do some crazy things, aren't they? Like,
true.
Well, I can't even know. They're having you do some different things that we do not include in our search and recruitment processes.
Okay.
So no. But I have to say, when we were going in, this is digressing a little bit, but when we went into the interviews, you know, the final 5 interviews, I was like, that's what I do all day long. I interview people.
True. Yeah.
No, Kayode, no. It was the biggest shock of my life. Honestly, they go in, like in. I come out questioning every part of me. I was like, what am I doing?
Really? Oh, we're going to get onto that, actually. We will get onto that.
Yeah, we'll get onto that.
In terms of the your audition process, I'm sure you probably have a lot of people asking you for advice, tips, etc. What advice would you give to people who do apply? Like, what would you say?
What, for the show?
Yeah. Go. Yeah.
Do you know what? I think just be, and I say this probably just in recruitment in general, I think just be authentically you. You know, I think there's so much happening at the moment, and I think it's just really important to be authentically you. You need to be super resilient. Like, that's the reality. You need to be ready to work really hard, and you need to be ready to hear some home truths as well. And if you're kind of ready for all those things and you're up for the challenge, absolutely go for it.
Cool. So do you remember when you got a phone call like saying, Scarlett, you're on the show? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
How did that go? Who called you? Is it Paul?
Paul. We love Paul, don't we? Yeah. No, it went really well. It went really well. I'm just about ready to say this. Me being real, because my girl's dad was in prison at the time, they had to do some different kind of checks and stuff, so it wasn't straightforward for me. Really? So it was a little bit more like complex. So it was like, can I do it? Can I not do it? Kind of thing. So then it kind of makes you want to do it more. I was like, no, I do want to do this. So, and it was of course totally fine. But no, it was incredible. And I don't think, honestly, I don't think I really took in the fact that I was doing the show until you walk into the boardroom.
I know, right? It's weird, isn't it? It's so weird. It's so weird.
It's so weird. It is honestly like you're in the television. I was like, I'm watching the television, but I know they're a meter away from me. How come they're all there like they're on my TV? It was bizarre.
Did you watch previous years, like my year and the previous years?
Yeah. I've watched things. I watched some of your year. Yeah, properly. Yeah.
So then, was it what you expected? Then, when you actually did it, like, was it what you expected from what you saw previous years, or like, how was it for you?
I think there's going to be lots of editing, don't you? Like, because that's just a TV show in general. There's only so much you can fit into 60 minutes. I think so. Yeah, I think mostly it was kind of what I expected. I don't think I expected it to be. I mean, when they talk about it being long days, I mean they're not joking.
I know, right?
You are up at like 3 sometimes, and you are going back to the house at 10 at night, and it is non-stop. But I thrive off that, or all of that I kind of thrived off. And for me, I thought I'd never left my children before. I think probably just overnight. So you can imagine, I left my children with my mum, who's incredible, and I thought, if I'm here and I saw this as a sacrifice, I'm making a sacrifice to come away from my business. I've got people depending on me, I've got responsibilities. I need to give it my all. So there was no time for like some people are like, oh, why are they doing this? Or I was just like, let's go. And so
you used to call your kid. I'm gonna take it your phone calls for your kids, right? Like, how was that?
Oh yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? And you don't know when you're gonna go. I think that's what makes it possible. When you think you're gonna be there for that duration, I don't think I could have gone. But because you're not sure when you're gonna go, you think, well, I might be home in a few days, or I might be home in a few days.
Not you.
And they thought I was
like, you were never going home, Scarlett. No,
you don't know. You know what? Honestly, people say that, but you don't know, because from my experience, Lord Sugar, he has to like you as well. There's other people on there that you think, gosh, you're good. Like, you're good. he just doesn't take to them, and you don't know why, because that's the personality thing, isn't it? You take to people who you don't, and at the end of the day, and you thought, I knew like I, you know, was doing well and stuff, but I thought actually if he, you know, doesn't like what I'm saying or doesn't take to my character, he goes off his gut a lot, then that's it. There's nothing I could do about that.
So you were never sure then? So you wasn't? So you were really okay? Very then, Scarlett.
Yeah, no. I just thought every single day, right, I need to do something to impress. Every day I need to do something to impress. And that was like my attitude. And a lot of that you don't even see because of the way it's edited. But I thought every day I need to impress. And then I've given my all then. Then I can go home and think, you know what, Scarlett, you really tried your best. Like, it's all right, you know, it is what it is. No, I just didn't know. There was some, you know, some good competition as well. So, yeah.
So tell us about the first task then. You were PM. You went to South Africa. How was that? Tell us about that.
Oh, it was great. Right, okay, so I'd watched the show years before at the start, like the likes of Sarah Khan and Tim, and then I watched some of it way back. yeah. And then I watched it summer of the year before. So there's a gap, you know, me being transparent, I hadn't watched. So I didn't realise there was this whole thing where people don't want to be the project manager on the first task, and there's some statistics. I was just thinking to myself, I've heard these women, and men definitely, but these women talking the biggest talks in the corridor, and then we're sitting at the table and everyone's like, I don't want to PPM, I don't want to PM. And I thought, this is ridiculous. And I just thought it wasn't really like me thinking, oh, I'll take the lead. I more just thought, as a group of women that are here, if we can't quickly show that we've got some strong leadership amongst us, then I'm in the wrong room. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. Like, it was more from that perspective that I was like, no, we're going to do this. So, but no, it was fine. It was fine. It was, you know, probably good to go in actually, because for first task, because obviously you don't know what to expect, and sometimes naivety is a blessing, isn't it?
It works in your favor.
Yeah, you just kind of
I put myself forward for PM for the first task, just like you.
Yeah.
And just like you, I won it as well. Because I thought to myself, worst case, it's like, I mean, yes, it's scary to be the PM on first task, but the fact that you've done it, you're all like, you know, you've done something. You're literally, you put yourself forward as PM has already put you ahead of everyone from the boardroom from the jump.
Yeah, it's brave.
Yeah, I mean, how was South Africa though? Because I'm jealous because we went to Malta, you went to South Africa. Like, come on.
Listen. South Africa was stunning. The vineyards were amazing. But you know, I wanted to go on a safari. I was like, how come we never got to go on a safari? The boys got to see, like, obviously the amazing animals. So yeah, I need to go back. I need to go back with my girls.
And so the next time you were PM, you was on the Fort Park trip, well, the Fort Park task, which you unfortunately lost. Talk us through that.
So it was PMing for the Fort Park task, which was basically design a roller coaster. And you know, Tommy had some amazing ideas, lots and lots of ideas, and we were all in it. You know what? It was great fun. I think ultimately, typical me, I want to kind of do everything. I think we can do everything. We can achieve everything. I don't want just the fastest roller coaster. I don't want the roller coaster with the most loops. I don't want the roller coaster that's the brightest roller coaster. I want everything. And, you know, it's because I'm a visionary. And apparently, I still disagree. I'm going to be real. But apparently, ours was just doing too many things. But isn't that what you're going to?
I remember them saying, like, if the G-force that your ride would have created would have, like, they said it would, like, knock someone out. Like, they would have been unconscious.
I mean, are you going there for a thrill or are you not? That's the question.
So was you worried when you lost the task at PM? Did you ever think like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How was it losing a task as PM? Like, how was that for you?
Yeah, I don't like losing, full stop. But you know what? Again, I felt like I'd done everything I could possibly do, you know, and I think it is what it is then. So, and it will be what it will be, you know, I'm a believer in that. So yeah, it's just massively disappointing because I genuinely thought our ride, I sound ridiculous now, but I genuinely thought our ride was better. That's why more I was like,
people out.
But apart from that, but the look of it and the feel of it and the pitch of it and all, you know, all of that stuff, but not taken away from obviously the winners of the winners of it. But yeah, I think it is difficult when you're in the boardroom. It's nerve-wracking and you know you're going to be pulled in, and then it wasn't just 3 of us that were pulled in, it was 4 of us, and I was like, oh no, the team are going to hate me. But I just always try to speak my truth in there, and I thought that if I'm just honest with what's happened and what people have done and what they haven't done, but not in a bitchy way, just tell the truth, and you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, I did find you were very fair. Like, I would, if you brought me back to the boardroom, Scarlett, I would have been like, okay, I'll be happy to come with you. I thought like you're so fair with it. Like, if you're, I don't know how your kids cope. If you're telling off your kids, like, I'll be like, yes, mommy. Like, I genuinely wouldn't mind because you're so fair. Like, I know that You've been telling me off for a reason. But one thing I do want to ask you about, Scarlett, 'cause I'm very, very impressed by your pitching. I mean, particularly the Finland task and
thank
the
you.
final as well. So what would
Okay,
your
thank
advice
you.
be for pitching and stuff like that for people?
You know, I think my advice would be stay calm, because everyone is like, "Ah," and that's part of the reason why then you can fall off. But stay calm, know what you're talking about. You know, I'd be rehearsing it in my head beforehand, even my first line, because I think if my first line's strong, I can kind of go in with the rest. So know what you're talking about, get some write some pointers down, do your preparation basically, and be passionate about what you're talking about. And if you feel it and you're like, yes, I know this is the case, that comes out, because that's what people kind of, you know, even doing this interview with you now, Kayode, I feel you're passionate. I'm like, oh, it's giving me energy, you know.
Yeah. Good. And oh, there we go. I thought it through for a sec. And talk about your public speaking.
I thought
well
you did actually.
Yeah, and talk about for the public speaking as well in the final. Again, you just came across so like I remember speaking to my mum. We're like, honestly, Scarlett's amazing. So talk to us about public. I know I'm a public speaker. A lot of people ask me, but I'm curious to hear from you about what you say about public speaking.
Honestly, up until kind of this point, I hadn't done any public speaking. Like, I would be the person that would go into a cinema, you know, when you walk up the stairs and feel shy, like, oh God, everyone can see me.
Wow.
Yeah. Genuinely, right. But when I go into like work, or I think, oh God, you know, it can be a little bit like that. But when I go into, I think, work mode and you're pitching for business and things like that, you're so passionate about it. And if I'm honest, I kind of learnt myself. I was like, actually, gosh, I realised I'm pretty good at speaking publicly. Like I wouldn't have said to you, oh gosh, that was one of my great strengths. I didn't really realise that, like, yeah. And I think I'm very good at being calm under pressure, and I think that's a big element of it. So yeah, but you know, in that finally, you know, when you're out there, Kayode, and you're speaking about things that you've just learnt about 2 hours ago, a toy that you've just designed, and you're like, whereas that I knew I was talking about my business. I was talking about the things that are important to me, about elevating senior female talent, elevating ethnic minority talent, you know, having real kind of true, fantastic sort of quality search and recruitment, all these things I'm so passionate about. And I was like, actually, I'm in front of not only Lord Sugar, Karen and Claude, but experts that I've been trying to get in front of for 5 years, that I'm like, wow, you're the guy from so-and-so, or you're the lady from so-and-so. And I thought, no, I'm so passionate about this, and it's such an amazing opportunity. Like, I just wanted to talk about really what I've been working towards for the last 8 years.
I love that. Cool. What I get from that then, Scarlett, is the fact that because you're so passionate about the subject area, you know your stuff, your heart's in it, talking about it becomes very easy then.
I think so.
Yeah, I love that.
I think you're right.
So when the show was aired, how was it for you looking back on it when it was aired and stuff like that? What did you watch every week? Was you nervous? Like, how did you find
it? Oh yeah, you got to watch every week. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what angle they're going to catch you at. You're like, oh my God, do I look like that? Yeah. No, it was really good. We did like little viewing parties, you know, when people could come into your house. We did like little viewing parties just with family and friends.
I watched it alone. I was living by myself. I watched them alone. Literally no one. Honestly, like my mum, obviously I live in Cheshire, my family live in London, so yeah, I'll literally be watching it on my own.
You are, that is brave. That is, I wouldn't have been brave enough, because if something would have happened on there, I would think, can I cope with it? I needed a whole support network. They were like, no, Scarlett, like, you was good. Even if I was like, that was awful. But no, I watched it with them. It was really fun. We kind of did it like a little like party thing each week.
Yeah, that's
and
nice.
Nice. Yeah, it was really nice, really good fun.
I remember being in Birmingham one Wednesday. I was thinking, oh, should I phone Scarlett, see if she can let me come down
to watch it?
I'm sure, did I message you about it? I'm sure. I remember being in Birmingham. I was at a conference.
Don't say that to me. Don't act like I've not responded.
Oh, maybe I can't remember. I was at the NEC, I think, and I said, "Oh, Apprentice is on tonight."
Oh no, you did.
I did it? I knew it. Can you know what's going on? No, I remember thinking, I'm not going to make it back home in time to watch this. I'm in Birmingham. Where can I watch it? And I was thinking, all right, who lives near here? Scarlett, but she didn't reply. Everybody, she didn't reply.
Oh, I'm sad.
But so when it was actually aired, I mean, how did you find? I mean, to be fair, you didn't really get any bad press. I mean, but how did you find press around you and stuff like that?
All right, like, you know what I think was weird? I think you're watching it at home, and then I knew my family and friends had seen it, but I forgot that when I go outside, other people having it.
Yeah.
And then obviously people come up to you all the time. I'm almost like, oh my God, like, yeah, it is me. Like, you know, it's a big kind of adapting thing. But I found it all right, a bit of a bubble really, and it still kind of is. But press wise, yeah, that was fine.
You're good with it.
It's just a bit of it's a fantastic but a weird experience. It's a bit surreal, to be honest. Even now speaking to you about it, I'm like, did that happen to me? Like, it was almost like watching in.
Famous overnight, like literally overnight. Everyone's searching for you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So how did you find about, because your year was very messy as a collective in terms of the drama on like, what?
Yeah, it was messy.
Like what? Like why? Like, I mean, like, is it a case of you guys got away with a lot more than my year, for example? But why? Like what?
No, I think it's just the characters. But it makes for good TV, doesn't it? I honestly think it was just characters. I get the impression like your year is super close as well. Like,
no, not
even.
Really well.
Not even, okay.
But we just didn't. Our drama was broadcasted online, for example. It was all in the WhatsApp or just privately. We never. I don't know. Your year just attracted so much press. Genuinely.
Yeah, I think there were just some big characters on there, and I think some characters that probably, you know, maybe didn't have, and that's okay by the way, but you know, weren't fully thinking this is the moment to pitch my business, but more this is the moment to get some public attention. And again, each to their own, like nothing wrong with that. And they really utilised that opportunity as best they could. So and
you were definitely the latter, because I know 100% you were business. That was literally came from the jump.
I'm not playing.
So what advice would you give to future candidates on The Apprentice when they come off the show, whether they win or not? Like, what advice would you say?
Do you know, I think you've got to take it in your strides. There's only going to be a period of, you know, that happening. So I guess utilize it to your best advantage, whether that's a platform for your business, whether that's a platform for some of the things that you're passionate about. Me, I'd stay away from any drama that's not of interest to me. But look, don't get me wrong, that propels some people forwards, doesn't it? So I think you've got to stay true to who you are. But yeah, I'd use it for a positive platform, for something that's interesting and inspirational for you or your business, because it'll only last so long. So you kind of need to build off the back of that. And
the fact that it doesn't last longer, we see a lot of downsides of people coming off reality TV really struggling and stuff. Like, did you personally, if you're able to share everything, did you have any personal struggles? I know I had struggles definitely coming off The Apprentice.
Did you?
100%.
Did you? What? Tell me.
Oh, you're interviewing me now, Scarlett.
No.
You're giving me some therapy. Like, so for me personally, I definitely do think there's the fact that it's just a bang overnight and then bang retract. For me, to be fair, that's a whole new episode, Scarlett. We can speak about
okay.
I hear you. For you personally, was there any or what, did you find coming off reality? What do you think there's any downsides to being on reality TV? Because you see a lot of young girls, a lot of young guys. I want to be on TV. I want to be famous. I want to be.
I think. Do you know what? Yeah, I think so. Did I feel there was a down? For me, probably not, to be honest with you, no. Okay. Because I think my expectations were met. That's why. So I think that if you go on there, and some reality shows that's the case, like Love Island and all that, but if you go on to a reality show and you think you're going to be an overnight success, or you think that you're going to bring in millions of pounds, or you think you're going to have this huge, you're going to have 1 million followers on Instagram, you're going to feel a bit disappointed afterwards if you've not hit that, But for me, I was like, oh, like I just went onto Instagram last week, like, oh, now I've got some followers, like, oh, well, people in my industry are hearing about me, which is kind of what I need to happen, because we want to get more business in and things like that. So my expectations were met, and I never wanted to be a big reality TV star. So that's why for me, I was kind of cool with it. But for other people, 100%, I think it's that your expectations can be different, and then the reality of that can be really difficult to deal with. Or with some of, especially with some of the guys, some of the people off Love Island or some of the other shows in particular, they've gone from a huge high to then maybe things being dropped, and I can only imagine that is a real shock to the system. So no, I think there's a serious side to it.
Okay, I find this question, I think, is more interesting for me, because I find I've met a lot of Love Islanders, a lot of people from different, and I just find it, maybe because I studied psychology at uni, I find it fascinating whereby people from different shows all say similar experiences to being in reality TV. But that's just me anyway. That's enough with me. That's enough of my personal interest. Sorry, Scarlett. That's just me trying to get in there.
It's good. It's interesting.
With The Apprentice, then, do you think you're going to still watch it going forwards, like year after year?
Oh, yeah. I think so. I feel like you've got to. I feel like we're all kind of part of a family now. And you know what's so nice, and like you're a really good example of it, is that I noticed that there is a family where people reach out and try and support each other. Like, you sent me some lovely messages, and I know like Ricky, who won 7, probably nearly 8 years ago now, and he's done so well in his own right.
Sorry?
Ricky, Ricky.
Oh, Ricky, yes, Ricky. Yeah, he's in recruiting as well, right?
Yeah, he's in recruiting, and he's been such a great support. And I think it's really nice that there is kind of this family, because you've all shared this experience, haven't you? Whether it's at the same time or not, you do understand.
Yeah. Cool. So let's talk about your life now after the show to date now. So
Yeah.
you didn't win the final, however, you still got what you wanted, right? You still got the investment.
Yeah.
Was it the same deal? Was it like, what can you share with us about
I
that?
don't know if I'm allowed to comment on that
No
or
worries.
not, but yeah,
Whatever you
it's a
can.
full, it's
I'm
a
not
full
trying to get
part.
anyone in
Yeah,
trouble. I'm just
no, it's fine. It's a full partnership. So
Okay.
and everything. So yeah, really, really positive. You know what? At the time, really disappointed, because you are like, you've put your whole life into this for basically a year, because it goes on for so long, you know, and you feel like you've done so much and all of that, but it is what it is, and Karina's absolutely a worthy winner. And you know, ultimately I went in, I wanted the investment, and I wanted to see if, you know, if we could get some kind of a platform, and that's happened. So I'm very grateful for that. And probably for me to be, like I said, I think, you know, I think some of the things that I'm very passionate about, I can probably now more actively talk about. Whereas maybe if you were the winner, I don't actually know, but you know, you might feel slightly more restricted in some of the things you can talk about. I don't know. Whereas I think actually it's probably worked out the right way for me. So we've got everything we wanted from a business perspective.
So would you feel maybe less pressure because you didn't win, but you still won? Like, if I see you as a winner, I feel like I'm talking to a joint winner, like literally. Because I don't know if you saw it in 2017.
No, the funniest thing, let me tell you, the funniest thing is, because obviously they've done the best bits this year, I keep getting messages saying, I'm so happy you're the 2020 winner. I was right. And you're like, no, like, they're thinking that, like, because my investment was announced 6 months after, they're like, they've given you the investment, like, you're the winner. I'm like, no, like, there was no winner in 2020 because it's best bits.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's true. Actually, I can see why they think that. I can see why they think that.
Yeah.
So did Lord Sugar literally, so after, I mean, he doesn't do that to everyone, as you can clearly see, Scarlett. He doesn't always invest in the run-up. So why, like, I can see why, but why do you think, like, did he reach out to you? Like, how did it go? I'm just curious. How did it go?
No, he reached out and obviously said how, you know, how impressed he was, and you know, that he'd love to kind of, you know, be in business together. So it's a real honor, and it's exciting, and I think in some ways I'm still taking it all in, you know. So I'm really delighted, and we're just excited about what we can do from a growth perspective as well. So
Also, tell us about that. Tell us about, because for me, the recruitment industry, ever since I went on LinkedIn in 2013, all I saw was, I didn't really know the recruiting industry existed until like 2030. So tell us about
I can relate
industry,
to that.
like talk to us about your industry.
Do you know what? I can relate to that. I probably didn't even know it existed properly around that time myself.
I'm thinking,
honestly, like,
everyone's recruiting. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Do you know, honestly, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just like, I need to work really hard. I love people, working with people, and, you know, I've done some operational stuff and all of that kind of stuff. And then I used to work for like a big corp, and I went in to do their internal recruitment, and I was trying to understand, like, is this a job? Like, I couldn't get my head around the fact that companies pay other companies to recruit people. I was like, this is hilarious. Then I realized, no, it's a whole billion plus dollar industry, you know, and but no, you know what? It's a fantastic industry to be part of. It's what I really like about it is that you're always trying to help people, you know, in a roundabout way. And it's really gratifying when somebody has gone forward for a role, and, you know, you're kind of going through the whole process with them, and then they actually get the role, because it's your life, isn't it? You know, career is a huge part of your everyday. So no, I thoroughly enjoy it.
And then Harper Fox, so tell us about specifically how Harper Fox works in this industry. I know you've got a specific niche you tackle as well, so tell us about Harper Fox specifically.
So at Harper Fox Partners, we specialise in placing senior leadership talent across the global engineering and energy sectors. So that's kind of everything direct to upwards. That's what we do. And then we've also have a specialisation in placing senior female and senior ethnic minority talent across those sectors as well. And we also support some give back. So we work with the Apprentice Trust, and we work with some local charities. So for every senior leader we replace, we help to support a young person into employment or education within our kind of chosen industry fields. So
you definitely 100% know your stuff. I'll give you that, because I went on your LinkedIn, I saw so many recommendations, and it's not even like these recommendations just popped up. They're going back years. If anyone listening, if you see Scarlett's recommendations, they're going back years, like years. Like, you know your stuff, literally. So do you talk much with then Ricky, then I take it, because he's in recruiting as well, is it? Or
Yeah, he's in recruiting. He's done so well. He's built such a strong business. Yeah, he's been a great support actually. I've spoken to him a few times and headed up and met him at his site at Hyper Recruitment Solutions. But yeah, he's a real inspiration actually, because it is really tough. You know, ultimately, no matter what the platform or the investment, you are building a business up from scratch, and that is just hard work. So yeah,
talk to us about that. What tips would you give to people starting a business? What would you say?
You know, I think starting a business, make sure it's something that you're passionate about. Like, there has to be some purpose in it, you know, because if not, you're not going to want to put the hours that are required into it. And you need to have obviously some kind of unique offering. Like, what's unique? It could be that it's you know what I mean? Like, for you, if you're doing your motivational speaking, I would imagine your USP is that no one else can be you. You know,
yeah,
no
even my events business is like that as well, to be fair. Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, like, what's your USPs and kind of celebrate them. And then I think try and be quite strategic. So in my mind, although we're only a small team and a small business, I think of us being a big corporate business. I'm like, I've got this vision that we're going to be in these offices and that we're going to be this team. And I kind of think in that way, try to think in that way as much as possible when I'm putting everything into place for the business and where we're going to be in the future. So have a big business mentality as well.
Okay, interesting.
If that's what you want.
Yeah, true. That's useful. And so what drives you then, Scarlett? What's your goals? Like, what drives you as a person?
Yeah, I mean, naturally, like my children, you know, and what drives me, Kayode, is that, if I'm honest, is that you're at points where you're thinking, can I pay the bills and how am I going to eat and how am I going to feed my children? There is no bigger motivation than knowing what it feels like to not have money. It's as simple as that. So that's kind of the real driving force. I think I'm made that way. I think I'm very driven. Also, you know, yeah, my mom's a big motivation. I watched her work so hard and, you know, juggling everything. And then you think, you know, you're doing all this, and I guess kind of what's the outcome of that? And yeah, for me, I guess I want to make a better life for me, my family, my mum, my children, everybody. Yeah. That's probably more important to me than me, you know?
Yeah, awesome. Well, Scarlett, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the interview today. Is there any final words you want to share with the listeners about anything?
No, I think I'm all talked out. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, I'm glad I can have you all talked out. So, Scarlett, it's been an absolute pleasure. Listeners and watchers, thank you for watching another episode of the All-Star Summit. I've been Kayode Damali. She's been Scarlett. From both of us, take care, and we shall see you soon.